I would like to start with a story that I heard that really kind of moved me and made me think. It was a trigger to me. It's about a boy who was walking along a beach with his father, and his father is a fanatic about wildlife, and he told this boy about the importance of predator, prey, ecosystem, everything wildlife, and how we need to be careful about the balance in wildlife and whatever we can do as human beings to protect and save the world that God has given us, we should do. So this boy was walking down the beach and he saw starfishes which had been swept on the shore, and he started picking them up. Thought, I'm going to save these starfishes. My dad has told me how important it is to look after wildlife, and they're going to die if I don't save them. So he started putting them into the sea one by one. Eventually, a guy was jogging down the beach, and he saw that this boy was picking up starfishes and putting them back into the sea, and he saw hundreds of starfishes, and he thought, you know what, I'm going to help this boy. He obviously doesn't know that what he's doing is pointless because there's no way he can save all these fishes. So he went to the boy and he said, what is the point of what you're doing? I think what you're doing is great, but don't worry about it. It won't make a difference. There's hundreds of starfishes there. And the boy just literally looked at him, bent back down, put another starfish in the sea and said, to that one it made a difference. And that story is open, obviously, for interpretation, but what I want to speak about today is the mindset of not forgetting about small beginnings and not forgetting about the small steps and servanthood, the things that you can do right now in order to really unleash your potential and move forward in that. I think the first thing that's important to point out is obviously we're all leaders in one form. Some people influence more positively than others. Some people are more aware of their influence on others. Some are able to unleash their potential more than others. And I just want to let you know that even when you see people talking up like I am right now, it's not that we have more potential than you. It's not that anyone else is more equipped than you. The only difference really is sometimes people are able to unlock those small steps that you can take right now in order to maximize and increase their potential. So just a brief about myself and my wife. We own and manage a portfolio of properties and run 3 businesses. And my real passion is really with youth development, and that led me to seek a recruitment director role at a fantastic educational charity called Teach for All. And this has really allowed me to go around the world and see amazing work that people are doing. Just a year ago, I was in South America seeing the amazing work people are doing and having impact on the lives of children who otherwise wouldn't be able to get an excellent education. These people were basically bringing the best teachers in to teach them. And these things I started seeing, and it started making me think and really change my perception of what success is and redefine my perception of success. So you have to give, obviously, honor where honor is due. I have gained a lot from watching also the small steps that my parents took. So my parents migrated from Nigeria when I was about 5 years of age, and my mother and father worked multiple jobs. And growing up in that type of household, I'm sure some can definitely relate to it there, you learned the essence of hard work, and my dad was just meticulous in everything that he did. I remember he used to take me to work, and he actually had the keys to his workplace because he was working 3 jobs, so to make up for it, he would go in really late to finish basically sorting the packages that he was delivering. And I would just sit there as a kid and just watch him and see how meticulous, how diligent he was in literally just those minute tasks. Following from that, my mother also, as I'm sure a lot of you can also relate to, would drag me up every weekend to go and buy meat from Dorset Market, just down there. So I was basically used as a trolley, to be blunt and honest. But it also taught me a lot because without fail, every single week we would go shopping. My mum would give me a little booklet, basically savers booklet, for the family savings, and she would give me money to put in to that savings account. So I would go into Halifax, which I believe was called something different then, Leeds something, but I would go in there and I would literally deposit money in every single week. And also I studied that. I don't think my parents did this strategically, but it put something in my mind. I started looking more at the small steps that they were taking in order to reach where they were trying to get to. So one of the things I want to speak about now is kind of, I guess, the steps that I took. And when I think back at how did we get here today, it's amazing to see the great work that God can do with just the small. The Bible says, obviously, do not put aside the days of small beginnings, and it says it for a reason. I think that's really powerful because, for me, I believe that's where great leadership starts, and it starts with servanthood. I had a big desire to go into business. I couldn't quite explain it when I was finishing university, and things slowly started unfolding. I got offered a job at IBM when I graduated, and to the dismay of my parents, I decided not to take up the role and decided to take up a role with a small recruitment company in the city. The reason why I did this, totally honest with you, I did it literally just to try and earn money and pay my parents back to what I saw that they sacrificed for me at that stage in my life. But as I started working there, I started noticing and reorientating my mindset. I started working closely with my director there. My desire was to learn how business actually operated, and I had a real desire to I just loved everything business. And then I didn't really know much about the purpose behind it, but I knew I just loved business. So I started learning a lot from my director, and one thing that he actually taught me was the essence of really almost seeing work as servanthood, like your clients, the people that you're working with. Business itself is serving others. And if you concentrate more on the money side of it, you kind of lose track as opposed to concentrating on what can I do to add value to my clients that I'm working with? What can I do to add value to the people that I'm operating in? And this is not just recruitment, this could be applied to anything. Business is providing value or somehow, but the difference is some people concentrate on money, some people actually concentrate on the value. Now, I also, I guess, learned from my parents, and as my dad did, I didn't probably do it on purpose, but I thought it was ironic that I got to a stage where I also had the keys for the office, and I was going in on Saturdays, and I was actually using that also as my time of worship and my time of reflection. Looking back, I probably should have spent more time with family and friends, but I do think that I grew in that time alone and really just concentrating on how I can build, basically, build myself up and build up basically that picture and that vision of what I was trying to drive for then in the future. So I started reading more books to do with business and stumbled over property also. My mother had purchased 2 properties which I was helping her to basically manage in a sense. So I learned a lot from that also, and I decided to put myself under the wings of the person who dealt with finance within my company also. Again, my motive was I want to learn everything to do with business. I want to know not just my side of it, but I want to know how the finance works. I just had this inkling to really just learn everything. So through there, I learned obviously how financial management worked. And it got to a stage where my director could not come into the office as often as he would like to, and he saw that I understood other parts of the business that other people didn't. And so I had the opportunity of taking more of a leadership role there. Again, when I look back now, I see the power of just doing those little things that then open up doors to be able to have the opportunity to do bigger things. You know, a lot of times we think about making big moves, but the fact is sometimes if you just concentrate on the little and you concentrate on serving others and adding value to others, those opportunities do come. So following on from there, I guess the end result was that through kind of focusing on the small and through really being diligent also with saving and things that I learned from my parents, we was able to, by the age of 24, have 3 properties. And from there, and with the knowledge that I gained from the business, I was able to kind of set up my own business through also the work that I was doing in that company, someone else has heard about the work that I was doing and decided to invest money into me setting up my own company, which I did in the city in Farringdon. Was able to recruit 4 consultants and started really working there. Little did I know that God was working in the back scene. He was really just developing, I guess, my character. And one thing I definitely want to pick out on this story too is a lot of times we kind of have our goals and we're heading towards it and we're running towards those goals. And the truth is, along the journey, the essence of the character, who you become while going through that journey, a lot of times is more important than actually reaching that end goal. So, to conclude, I think I reached the age of, I believe, 23, 24, where I, like the boy in the story of Starfish, I started to have more opportunity to spend time with people who, in my eyes, were really successful, who had reached the heights of what I thought was the definition of success, which is to own a big business, which is to have a big portfolio of properties. But I noticed one thing, that not all of them were actually happy. I noticed that a lot of them, as I grew relationships with them, and even as I went to add value to them, I noticed that they seemed to have a void in their hearts. And I had always gone to church, and my parents had always taken me to church, but I never really took my relationship with Christ seriously until, I guess, I really just had this thought put into my mind that without purpose, things can be abused. Without purpose, you start heading towards a road where the thing that you're searching for and the thing that you're heading towards defines you and defines your success. And just as an iPhone, I've got an iPhone here. Obviously, I can decide to use this iPhone right now as a hammer and knock a nail into that wall. But the truth is, I may be able to succeed in knocking that nail into the wall, but I probably will break the iPhone. So if you don't use something for its intended purpose, you end up breaking it, just as us human beings. And I remember one sermon at church that just really, really moved me, and I think I needed it at that moment in time, was talking about purpose and talking about the fact that in order to really realize your purpose, you need to go to your maker. Just like if this iPhone was broken, you'd go to Apple. If the iPhone needed repair and you wanted to know the real use of it, you go to the manual. So I then started taking my relationship with God a lot more seriously, because I saw and I didn't want to become like those people who, even though they were reaching these heights of what I saw as success, weren't happy and they had voids in their heart. And as I started doing that, I started noticing a lot more things unfolding in my life. I have known my wife since we were in primary school, but my eyes, I guess, in a sense, opened, and we got married, and beautiful things started happening. As Jill was sharing, all of a sudden, miracles started coming, like multiplication that we couldn't even explain. And I wish I could sit here and say, guys, this is what I did, and that's how all of these properties came. But the truth is, a lot of it is down to just God's handiwork. And I knew He had a purpose for it. And my aim was then to start uncovering that purpose. So we got to a stage where once we got married, we realized that we had different aims in life, the same aims in life in terms of youth development, and we became youth leaders in our church. And we then decided that our commitment is going to be that whatever we do, whatever we are, for example, the next property that we purchase, the proceeds of that, or whatever we do, will then, the bigger aim would be beyond just owning another property. The bigger aim would just be beyond owning a business and making X amount. Because the truth is, if that is the aim, and you're able to just focus on what God is really doing and trying to do through you, then that way you really truly find your purpose, as opposed to then defining yourself by reaching that goal of owning X amount of properties. So I guess I would love to leave all of you with just 2 burning questions to really go away with, which is, number 1, what small things can you start doing now? Don't start waiting for big opportunities to arrive. What small things can you be doing well now and serving people that will allow and unleash the leadership and leadership potential in yourself? And secondly, what are you doing to really search for that purpose that you have in God, and why God would basically, in a sense, bless you with those things that you're heading towards.